Hi, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is Saturday, April 20th. Hopefully you are enjoying the weekend. Hopefully you have friends and family near you, or you're doing something you really love and enjoy doing. I thought that I would just take a quick moment. This is going to be fairly short, I think, and just to touch base and see kind of what's going on in the United States. It is post the Mueller report, so that came out on Thursday. It's Saturday, so people have had a little bit of time to sort of process it, perhaps start to read it. It sounds like there's a lot to process, and in many ways you have to just simply disregard everything. Certainly that was kind of said before it came out, especially those things that were said by William Barr. And he's somebody that I actually do want to take a quick look at during the source of this reading. So the first thing I want to look at is Trump, and just kind of see how he's doing, what he's thinking, where he's at mentally and emotionally. So let's I'm going to give these cards one more quick shuffle and cut them. And I will bring down the computer and we'll see what cards have to tell us about Donald Trump this holiday weekend. There you come. Okay. So let's see how Donald Trump is doing on April 20th, 2 days past the Mueller report being released. Okay. So, in the center, we've got the Fool. He is, one thing that Trump is really, really good at is I don't know that I would go so far as to say deluding himself, but he certainly is good at presenting and convincing, talking himself into sort of an alternative narrative. The sky is blue in our world, it seems to be purple in his, kind of thing. And he will insist that it's purple. And in this case, he is sticking with the, no collusion, no obstruction, I am completely exonerated. Well, really, it's interesting because the expression that just came to mind was a fool and his money are soon parted. So I wonder if that doesn't give us some indication of what's going to go on here. The Fool it's not a great card for him to have. In some cases you can read it really positively, but in this case it's not. It's somebody who's not watching where they're going. They're not paying attention to the sharp peaks of the mountain, the burn of the sun. They're just not paying attention. They're living in their own little fantasy world, and they're oblivious to the fact that they are about to step off a rather large cliff. Crossing that, not surprisingly, is the Tower. So that which was not built on a stable foundation is going to fall. Well, his presidency wasn't built on a stable foundation. So there are going to be cracks in his administration, more cracks, and there's going to be more lashing out and extreme behavior from Trump as he tries to figure out a way to reframe the situation. And it's not going to go all that well for him. He's in for a really rough ride. He has been battling. He has been fighting hard. He has been trying to keep certain elements of his life, his previous life, his current life, his administration, his presidency, the election, all of it. He's been working really hard at trying to keep this stuff quiet in the background, push it aside, there's nothing to see there, stop picking on me, I'm a victim here. That whole nonsense, that's just in his immediate past. What's in his immediate future is the Hermit. So you're talking about secrets, you're talking about things coming to light that were unknown before, talking about, a time of reflection, a time to absorb. And that makes a lot of sense because on some level, at some point in time, somewhere along the way, he is going to have to actually start recognizing at least some components of reality as reality exists. The Six of Cups at the bottom here is, really about illusions and wanting to go back to another time. I can actually see where he is going to start to almost convince himself that it really is 1956 and things really are better, or we really want to get back to that time. That narrative is going to continue. That whole, we need to go back in time when America was great. Well, it wasn't great then, and he hasn't done anything to make it great. So, but it appears to be that's going to be one of the new narratives that seems to come forward. And you have the Queen of Wands here. And I'm not really actually sure what she's trying to tell us. I mean, wands are about actions and inspiration and ideas and moving forward. So it's possible that he could be getting some advice from a female. So Ivanka comes to mind first in terms of how to handle this, how to play this. There could be somebody saying, slow down, calm down, don't tweet like that. He's not going to listen, but bless, somebody's in there trying to give it the old college try. Okay, so certainly intuitively I can tell you that he is incredibly frustrated this weekend. He is angry. He's sputtering a lot. He's putting on a fake show at his golf club. He's golfing with people. Rush Limbaugh, I saw a picture of the two of them. He's trying to present this really happy, everything is great in my world sort of image. I don't know that anybody's buying it. Frankly, given what the last 48 or so hours have been like for this man, you'd almost have to be like really delusional in order to think that he's having a great Easter weekend. I mean, that just makes absolutely no sense. So, let's take a look at what the Mueller report, what is the impact of that? What is most likely to be the result of that Mueller report coming out? Let's see what we can find out about that, Spirit. What is going to be the effect, the impact of the Bob Mueller report now being out in the public and people slowly but surely starting to process it and figure out everything it says and fill in all the blanks of things that we didn't know before? Okay, so it's going to be a lot of broken hearts. There's a lot of sadness, people were really hoping that he was going to be the change agent. He was going to, Trump, I'm talking about, was going to be able to just change the world, take us back to a time when perhaps some people saw it as more idyllic than it is now. Certainly some people felt less threatened, less judged, less forgotten. Of course, there was a whole great big huge segment of people who felt incredibly forgotten and however. So there is that sense that he was sort of going to be the one to make stuff right. What's interesting is he had no plan, he had no agenda, he had no actual way of making anything right. But somehow he managed to convince people that, yeah, he was up for the job and he was going to be able to do it. Okay, so let's bring this back down. What you have in the center is the Three of Swords. So it's heartbreak. People are sad. There's certainly some disappointment. I think some people had much higher expectations for the Mueller report than I guess what they feel they've gotten. Now, I did in a previous reading mention that there was going to be sort of some disappointment with the Mueller report and that it was going to be a little bit anticlimactic. It was really as if people had such huge expectations for it and they thought it was going to be so broad and so encompassing. And that's not what had happened. He very narrowly stuck to his mandate, and that's what the report is about. So there's a sense of disappointment, but I'm here to tell you that as time goes forward, as things unroll, as people actually start to read the report, they start to recognize the light that is being shone on the situation. That sense of disappointment is going to dissolve a little bit. It's going to lessen because there really is a sense that there's a whole lot more information there than was previously known. Blanks were sort of filled in a little bit. It is going to give journalists a lot of little threads to pull. So don't be surprised in the coming, few weeks and months if there's a lot of sort of groundbreaking journalism going on. That's going to be really interesting to see. There is definitely an end coming. I don't know that Trump is actually strong enough to win this battle, to sort of survive this kind of attack. It's not good. And here we have the truth. Here we have institutions that are not going to continue to allow the Trump narrative to continue uncorrected or people are going to say, well, you say this, where's your proof of that? So this is interesting. This shows sort of a balance coming where people are reading the report, they're processing it internally, and there's there's sort of, it's as if people are going to have to kind of end up on one or the other side. It's going to, perhaps three. One is going to be, you know what? I haven't liked Trump from the beginning. I don't think he's a great president. He's unpresidential. I don't like the way he acts. He has no compassion. Those people's views and opinions are going to be more solidified. You're going to have that other group of people who, I saw somebody on TV the other day literally say, I like Trump and I support Trump. He is a despicable human being, but I support him. And I was like, give your head a shake. What are you talking about? But there are going to be that group of people who literally say, he's amazing and I love him and I don't care that he's a horrible person. I just am going to stick by him. I'm always curious when I hear people make statements like that. I really wish the people interviewing them would say, what has he done exactly for you? What did he do? Did you get a whole bunch of money back on your taxes? Because certainly a lot of people didn't. Like, what exactly is it that you are basing this, I'm going to keep supporting him because he does amazing things? What is that based on? And then there's going to be sort of the people in the middle who are saying, you know what, I'm kind of this way, or I'm not really strong in either direction in terms of my opinion about him, but I'm going to read this, I'm going to take it in, and I'm going to make decisions based on that. And those people are going to end up being the huge voting bloc that is going to determine the outcome of the next election. And we have the Knight of Pentacles here. And so this is talking about kind of an eventual positive outcome, a delayed outcome, but that is beneficial and is what you're looking for. So in terms of the Mueller report, this card sort of says it all. The enthusiasm, the excitement, the whatever is going to be a bit delayed, but in time it will sort of come out and sort itself out. Now, there's a lot of talk right now about, impeaching Trump. We want him impeached. Let's get it done. Let's start proceedings. And when you see hesitancy, understand that the hesitancy to start the process really boils down to this. Yeah, they've got the votes in the House. They do not have the votes in the Senate. So it'll pass the House and he'll be impeached, but when it gets to the Senate, the impeachment will not be approved. It will be stopped. So has Trump actually learned anything from that? Or has it just reinforced the idea that you can pretty much get away with anything and there is no one who's going to stop you? So, I totally understand people who want this impeachment thing started. I just am not convinced that at this time enough Americans are on the same page to kind of get it done, and certainly one of the things that would have to happen is people who are in states that have Republican senators, they would literally need to start harassing those senators and saying, listen, you vote to impeach this guy. Because as it sits right now, there's enough senators that they are not going to let that, kind of go through. So that has to be calculated into the mix. I would like to see, now I'm just going to find out what it is the Dems kind of are doing. What is their response going to be? What is their reaction to what's going on? And what can we expect them to do or not do? Because, it will be Nancy Pelosi who sort of tells us whether or not, she's going to have the House moving forward. So I'm going to cut the cards and let's just take a quick look at the Dems and what where they're sitting right now and where their actions are likely to take us. So got the King of Cups sitting in the middle. Okay. So, the Democrats. The King of Cups is sitting here. In this instance, the King of Cups, I'm reading it literally as someone caring, someone emotional. And I'm reading it it's really not as a person as much as it's a feeling or an environment. What it's saying is that right now things are incredibly fluid within the Democratic Party. They haven't made any firm decisions. Things are still being sorted out, weighed, processed. And so the situation right now is just fluid. And in time that will solidify and there will be a consensus of what to do and how to handle it. But for right now, they're still processing. They're still sort of trying to take in everything the report said and figure out exactly where they can use certain things to their advantage. The Ten of Cups is telling us that they can create a more balanced and happy environment, and they can do it on more than one front. So literally, yeah, they can handle an impeachment investigation, and yes, they can look at healthcare, and yes, they can look at the opioid crisis, and yes, they can look at the price of prescription drugs. And yes, they can have debates about gun control. They are wanting to send a message that they can, walk and chew gum at the same time. They can handle more than one thing, and they can get things moving. The last election taught the Democrats a lesson that they're not, frankly, anxious to repeat. They figured it out. They figured out that, you cannot govern kind of with your own agenda. Your agenda needs to be set by the will of the people. They're figuring that out. They're understanding it. Make no mistake, they're still absolutely political animals, but they figured out that there has to be more of a balance between what a politician wants versus what the citizens of a country want. It was really a heavy burden for them in the past to be in the minority, to not have any power. And now that they are out of that situation and those wands have been dropped, they're in a situation where they're coming up with new ideas, innovative ways of handling things. I would not be surprised if one of the things that happens in the House is they do a couple of those censures, where it doesn't really accomplish anything except you put into the record the fact that you do not approve of the way the president handled a situation. I can see them doing several of those. Again, they don't really have a huge impact right in the moment, but they do go into the record. It does, you cannot this is the problem. This is what's going on right now, and this is where the dilemma comes. On the one hand, you have to do something because you cannot let the behavior and the actions of this man go unchecked. You cannot let them go unquestioned. But because if they do, then it sets a standard that literally people are above the law and that they can pretty much do whatever they want. So you don't want that example moving forward into the future. By the same token, you have a situation where they can, if they start impeachment proceedings right away, they're just going to slam into a Senate that is not going to let that move forward. So I can certainly see a couple of things, and this is more intuitive. I can see the Democrats starting the impeachment investigations and kind of slow walking it. Just kind of doing it slowly, having, those in-camera interviews and testimony and stuff, but they're going to pace it out. And in doing that, what they're going to do is they're going to create a situation where Trump is sort of continually getting muddied. There's mud splashing on him, and he just gets that cleaned off, and there's more mud splashing on him. Because what that would do is moving towards the election. So for the next, say, 12 months or so, you have a situation where he's not ever free and clear of this. The Democrats are doing their job. They're moving forward, and they're letting the country know that they're not going to take his behavior lying down, but that they're just going to make it a little slower. I said in one of my previous readings that, the end of Trump would be death by 1,000 cuts. And I really, really still feel that. I feel that it is not only going to be Trump's behavior that takes him down. It is going to be the government investigation. So the Intel Committee and the Judiciary Committee, all of those committees doing their things. In addition to that, it is the investigations that are going on outside of that in the Southern District of New York, in Florida, in Washington, in all of these other places where these investigations are going on. At some point, that load is just going to be too much for Trump to bear. And I can see that being the cause of either him leaving office or deciding not to run going forward. So, interesting. What's sitting on top of this card? I think this honestly has become the universal card among card readers for Mueller. And so, what sitting at the top of the reading of this is basically saying that the Mueller report and the information in it is going to be the umbrella under which the Democrats make their decisions, make their choices, and move forward and go forward. And what they are trying to accomplish is this: they want to create literally the death of the Republican administration of the Trump White House at this time. They want that stopped because they want to usher in a new beginning. Death card is almost always indicative of one cycle ending and another cycle starting anew. And that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. Now, whether they end up doing that by an election or by an actual impeachment, I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of not convinced that Trump isn't going to get through his entire presidency. But I also have really strong feelings that he's going to leave office early. So I don't have an answer for you right now. But either way, he definitely will not be in the Oval Office come 2021. So I'm hoping that this has been helpful. If you have enjoyed it or found it helpful or insightful, please like and subscribe. I'm a very, very new channel, and hopefully people will find me and find that they like, enjoy, or are in some way helped by the messages that I have to share. So whatever you're doing this weekend, have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. And thank you very, very much for finding me here at Soulprint. And have be well and take care until the next time we connect. We'll see you soon now. Bye-bye.